Hello, my friends, and welcome to my teeny tiny bathroom where I can touch both walls. Oops, open the door. And not even have my arms fully extended. That is how small my bathroom is. Yeah. Anyway, I need to talk about some things. I wanted to give you an update. I looked at my screen and I was like, I haven't done a thing in 3 days, so I need to look back because I might just not have posted something, which is very typical. Very typical. I forget to post. Okay, so the other night, I don't have a partner. I don't have a partner. That is done. That is done. I'm sure there's some things that we got to work at, but we're not working them out right now. It is. I just finally realized that I was really not enjoying myself, and that wasn't really the point of life. And why do I want to keep not enjoying myself when I could just go create a life I wanted? You know what I mean? And when I met him, when I met him, I had just had my awakening like less than a year ago before that, and I got into RV life, and I had drove to Florida from Vegas. I got rid of my car. I bought a truck. I leased a truck, which was a stupid financial decision, but I bought the trailer. And then I took a couple months and drove across the United States to start my new life. And I was going to come out here to Pahrump, which is like 75 miles away from Vegas, and work on building a healing center. Now, I don't really think that this is the place for it because it's not really my favorite place. I would rather be in... if I was going to still be close to Vegas, I would rather be in like Mohave County. I'd rather be on the other side of the river. I'd rather be close to the river and the lake and to be able to enjoy the water. And I just think it's prettier down there, and that's where I would rather be. So anyway, I'm here. I met him 3 years ago or so, and after driving across the country, it was like a lot. I had just had this awakening, and I needed to be somewhere healing. And really, my mind has always been build a healing center. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Pahrump and build a healing center. I don't really know what that means, but it'll be somewhere I live. In some way, shape, or form, I will help other people do the things that I learned how to do after my awakening, like starting over and going through shadow work and stuff, you know, and that's awakening isn't my only thing. Like, I'm pretty smart and I'm fun to talk to, and I don't have to just talk about spiritual stuff, but I can offer you different perspectives that somebody who doesn't have a spiritual mind can, if you want. So anyway, that's what I plan to do. And then I met him, and you know, I don't want to bash him, but I'm real mad right now, and it sounds like I'm bashing him. And I'm sure as the wound heals, I'll have a nicer perspective on him. But it's not just about love; it's about growing together. And we just kind of were a frequency mismatch from the start. He struggled with alcohol addiction, and when I met him, he was on like 12 pills from his psychiatrist, and he got off of all of those. And then it was like this battle, like, you know, it took him like 2 years to find a therapist. And then he wasn't like, I don't like this therapist, and you know, and I was just, I also was I learned some lessons because his healing journey is his healing journey, and if he didn't want to heal and work on himself in the way that I wanted him to, I needed to accept him that way. And I didn't, because when I met him, he said he wanted to heal, and he wanted my help. And so the whole dynamic was that I was going to try to help him through this whole thing. And when I hear somebody say they want help, I want to help them. And then the fixer in me. And then, you know, he did get off of the meds, and he did improve, but he did not improve in the way that we were really a match, and we were always fighting. And I think, I'm not trying to say that he needed to change, but he needed to understand, for me to want to stay with him, that when I brought things up that hurt me, bothered me, or thought we could work on together, he took them as an attack. And you can't do all that. Like, you can't that's my dog Chewy in the background, by the way, making me lose my train of thought. But we used to have a lot of fights, and I get it, there's growing pains, stuff like that. In my opinion, I'm 51 years old. I don't want to fight with anybody, and I think we should all be past that. But, you know, he would do things. Both of us were triggering, I think, our childhood trauma wounds. And I think maybe he was my twin flame, and I think that, hey, buddy! I'm trying to do a video, dude. Do you want to say hi? Come here. I'll show you. He does not want to say hi, but you can see him on Chewy Love. That's his channel. Everything that I said, like everything, I never tried to attack the dude. I just tried to be like, hey, you know, and maybe my delivery was off, and I'm not saying that I wasn't nasty and mean and a bitch in the end. Of course I was. I was at my wit's end. In survival mode, you know, I quit. Check this out. Hold, please. I gotta see what's up with my dog. Have you met Chewy Love? Have you met Chewy Love? He's got his own channel, and you're on Facebook and YouTube. And say, tell, this is my man, and he needs to support me, so tell him all about your channel. Say, follow my channel. Follow my channel. We all gotta work in this house. Anyway. So, I think I was where I was gonna say how I quit my old lifestyle for him, and then that kind of backfired, right? Because then that went broke. And I learned a lot. Like, I will never quit that for anybody. That's not the first person who's suggested I quit. When I was married back into my 20s, my ex-husband was jealous of my real estate client and wanted me to quit too. So this must be a common thing, because I mean, that was real estate, you know what I mean? Anyway, so I quit, and I was like, when he was like, I don't want to be involved with you if that's what you're doing. And I was like, okay, then we can just be friends. And then then he did what he did in every fucking fight, and I caved like I did in every fucking fight. And I know that this was like the trauma wounds, because, you know, I had like parents that, you know, weren't really around. They were always working, and I was alone a lot. And so his solution to every fight is, I'll just leave her alone until she comes back and ignores it. So it was like progressively, like, we never grew from the first fight. We've never had any resolution or growth. We've just had more blocks and barriers, and he's got a lot of anxiety, but like, it's my understanding that you get rid of your anxiety by facing it. And he wasn't willing to face it, but I was, And so that was, it was my comfort zone to talk about things. And then it just became so much of the same thing. It was like fucking insanity, and I was like very disassociative, and it basically, the whole entire relationship gave me PTSD, and quite honestly, because the way that he was interpreting what I was saying, I think it gave him PTSD too. And if you have two people who have PTSD from each other, maybe you shouldn't be around each other. So, but he went home and found out that he feels like he needs to stay there. And I'm not mad about that, but he thinks I'm mad about that. I'm mad about the way he treats me. And I'm mad about the fact that he ghosted me to the point that I knew he was going to move there before he ever thought of even talking to me. And that's just the type of shit that drove me absolutely fucking insane. And at no point, because I was financially dependent on him, and really then, in the last several months, I haven't had a vehicle. So, and it wasn't that big of a deal because I don't really go anywhere, and I'm in a town that I don't really want to go anywhere except out of it. You know what I mean? So I didn't really need the car for a while, and I've been just been cranking and working and trying to get on my feet and trying to get my vision built enough to where I can talk about it without just, like, I need the framework or the foundation, and that's really what I've been trying to do. And I have all of these things that look really scattered, but they're not. I have like 6 or 7 YouTube channels and different media things, and then I wrote my book, and I'm going to start a podcast, and I started a little store, and like all of that stuff, when you don't know how to do it and you're just building it with you and asking chat how to do it and then doing it in trial and error, and that shit takes a lot of time. And I was like trying to get out of this world with him where it was just like fighting and obnoxious, or it would be really good. And both of us say, I like you like 50% of the time, and the other time I fucking hate you. And I don't think that's very good. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's very good. I don't know that you're going to like somebody, or I think the word was love, but I don't think you're going to love somebody 50% of the time, fucking hate them 50% of the time, because I would just want to be balanced, you know what I mean? And after not being balanced, I definitely know I want to be balanced. So the last couple of days haven't been good. Like, I've been going through like a storm, and like I'll have waves of blue skies and sunshine and white puffy clouds, and then these dark clouds will roll in, and I'm just trying to be like, don't hold on to those clouds, because it's just, it's just a wave. It's just a wave. And he, like, he'll say whatever he wants to say until he gets frustrated, and then he's like, this conversation's over. And then that makes my little inner child be like, fuck you, motherfucker. And then I get mad. I get more mad. And then I text him, and then he's like, see, this is how you are. And it's like, no, this is a reaction to 3 years of this. So like every fight just builds on top of the other. You're just putting another brick, and I'm pushing the fucking bricks down, and I'm mad, and so yeah. So I guess the whole point of what I'm trying to say is, I lost myself, and I abandoned myself, and I want to say that I'm mad at him, because that's the easy way. That's the human in me. Of course I'm mad at him, but like, I'm mad at me because I could have prevented all of that by being like, bye, I'm leaving, I'm leaving, and I'm just gonna, and then he could have either straightened up, or he could have just been out of my life, and either way, I would have been a lot happier. But there was also the whole dynamic that I became financially dependent on him, and it was like, it was so bad that I was like out of my body, and I was just nonstop trying to work, trying to get this all done, and it was like insanity, because I was like, I gotta get this done, but I wasn't like, I couldn't, there was only certain things I could focus on, and it wasn't making money, and it wasn't getting out of here. It was survival. Like, it was extreme PTSD survival. And he, who also is somebody who says he has PTSD or CPTSD, like, I would tell him all the time, like, I need it like a cloud. I need it like, I'm very hypersensitive to all of the stuff around me in this park, and that's increasing my sensitivity. But also I have PTSD, and like, I need it like, I can't watch violence on TV, okay? I can't watch, like, I can't listen to music with a negative tone. If there's fighting on TV, I can't tolerate it. So, like, it was like I was living in a battlefield, and I was trying to explain it to him. And instead of just getting out of the battlefield, I wanted him so bad in my life. I was committed to wanting him in my life as like this partner, because when it was good, you know what I'm saying? But like, overall, was it really that good? Because I didn't want to be here in this town, in this I got into this trailer, and I was like, well, 6 months or a year, and then I'm gonna find a place and I'm gonna do my dream, you know? And like, I wanted to include him with that, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do these things on the computer. If you could like do these things, and because he said he wanted to eBay, and so I was like, you could start eBaying the whole thing. We'll just, you don't have to buy inventory. You can inventory that. Well, I don't really like to do that and that, you know. Like, we could never fucking work together. The only time we worked together, well, was when we were camp working, until I got fired after telling the manager she was on see you next Tuesday. But that had to come too, because the universe doesn't want me in these positions, so they just blow up. And people are like, I mean, I know I'm on a path. Like, I'm like watching it happen, going, this is wild. This is my life. Oh my God. And I'm not saying like I'm watching it happen, like I don't have control over it, but I'm just like, I've been asking for this, and this is how it ends, huh? With me getting the cops called on me. Anyway, I think my dog is annoying, and right now, not always. And I'm gonna take a walk. So I love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching my channel. My life is, I don't want to keep saying words like my life is crazy, because then it's like it reiterates that. So I want to say that my life is getting back on track, and that's where I'm going. That's where I've always been trying to go. Now that I don't have that kind of chaos, I think things are going to go a lot quicker and a lot more smoothly. And watch me rise. Follow me, because I am going to share some wisdom, and I'm going to stop talking a little bit more about my personal life. Actually, after this, I'm getting back on my feet, but like, other than that, I don't really have like drama. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I do, but maybe I do. Not a lot of people are awakening in this world and telling people like, hey, you're a frequency, you're a vibration, blah, 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 blah. Some people don't like that. All right, I'll talk to you later. Don't be a stranger. Hit the follow button. Subscribe. Please. I love you. Goodbye.